This week I tried out some container gardening on my front porch. Nothing's really growing right now, but I got this idea from Veranda magazine. I will link the article down below because it's got some really cool ideas in there. And I tried to create sort of a evergreen, non-Christmassy look outside just to kind of tide us over through February and March until we can start doing more spring things, because it is really still winter and sometimes it's challenging to get a winter look without getting really Christmassy. So you'll have to let me know how I did, but I had a lot of fun doing it, and it was also really easy and free. I just foraged things from my own yard, including dead sticks, and those are some of my favorite kind of projects. I realized, well, living out in the country, that's one thing I do have a lot of access to is materials for forage, and I know not all of you watching probably have the same easy, free access to greenery. And I remember when I lived in the city, especially at Christmas time, it always hit me how expensive that stuff could be if you wanted to decorate. But anyway, now I live where it's free, and so I decided I should take advantage of that and have some fun with it. And even if you do live in a city, there might be some ways to forage some free or cheap greenery. If any of you have any ideas, let me know, because for sure when I did this project too, I found myself wishing that I had some things that don't just kind of grow wild around my yard. So if any of you have any tips and tricks for free or cheap ways to get plants, by all means let me know in the comments. I would love to hear that. So I had a lot of this broadleaf. I have no idea what it is. It's like a nursery plant that was randomly growing in an old cistern well thing around, and it's really, really pretty. It might be some kind of laurel, but I used a bunch of that, and what they had suggested for this container was to kind of start low and then build kind of a dome, and then have some pretty sticks in the middle. And you can't see too clearly in the video, but some of the sticks have these teeny tiny little red berries on them, and some of them are just sticks that I picked up off there that had fallen down. We have a lot of sugar maples around here, so they're sugar maple sticks, which look really pretty. They dry out and they kind of get this silvery, whitish, grayish, papery look, and they're really lovely, kind of wintry. And so I put a lot of this one broadleaf around. So as I got closer to the sticks in the middle, I tried to use longer and longer cuts of those, and I added some boxwood as well. So now I've got these two broadleaves in there, and just tried to make it sort of look like a dome. And then I went around with some moss that I also gathered out of my yard, and just tucked the moss around the lip of the planter, kind of drooping out. And the moss has this really chartreuse color, so it's a really different, brighter yellower green than the broadleaves, and it was an interesting contrast. The next day I went back and added some cedar, which we also have tons of around here, just for a little contrast. And this is what they ended up looking like. This is what I ended up with. I'm pretty happy with them, especially since I've never done anything like this before. And I'm looking forward to trying it again. It's winter, but it's kind of that spring cleaning mode. And for years, I've kind of gone on again, off again with DIYing my own household cleaners. I'm in a pretty good routine now where I'll make my own disinfecting cleaner. I have a great recipe I love from Clean Mama, who, if you don't know, I'll link her down below. She's a blogger. She has a wonderful book that really helped launch me into keeping my house cleaner and inspiring me. And I love her stuff, and she's got some great recipes in her book. So I use her disinfecting cleaner a lot. And I've done more in the past, and I decided over the last year, really, that I wanted to do more. Sometimes it's hard to keep up with it, like keep in the rhythm. It's just a rhythm of, it's kind of like the rhythm of buying and rebuying, supplies from the grocery. But there's a little more to it because it's DIY. So sometimes in the past I've gotten frustrated with running out and then like not immediately being able to grab another bottle from like my stock or my storeroom. But let me just say, and I would love to know if any of you feel the same way as far as DIY or all natural cleaners go. I am very attracted to using something non-toxic. I think that's great. I love the idea of saving money by DIYing it. It is cheaper if you factor out the use costs and all that stuff. Maybe not a ton cheaper, but in some cases, definitely cheaper. But the main thing, honestly, that attracts me to it is the luxury of it. Like I find myself, I would love to buy the more expensive soaps that smell really good, like really fancy stuff that I would probably just never buy because, it doesn't seem like the greatest use of money, but I love the idea of the luxury of it. And then the idea that you could get a real quality, wonderfully, beautifully scented luxury product for pennies, and I could make that myself. Well, it kind of is the same thrill that I get when I go thrifting and I find something that's a real treasure at the thrift store. So that's really my motivation. And last week I got some prettier sponges and scrub brushes that are these natural fibers to make my kitchen look prettier instead of having the plastic bristle brushes, which mine were all worn out anyway. It was time to say goodbye. And then I just thought, I'd love to make a pretty dish soap. So I'm so tired of looking at that clear plastic bottle of dish soap that doesn't really fit in my where I keep my soap anyway, because half the time I'm buying like the 64-ounce one and then I have to set it on the side of the sink, and I just don't like how that looks. So I just got a really inexpensive little empty plastic bottle from Walmart, and I followed a recipe I found online from Our Oily House. I really like Our Oily House. She's Farmhouse on Boone, Lisa's sister, and I really love both of those ladies, the bloggers, because they are very into doing DIYs and all natural things, but like they have a very minimalist approach. So a lot of their recipes are very uncomplicated and unfussy and don't take that much time. And I love that. So I picked out her dish soap recipe and I made it. And I had to order a couple of things in advance, like sal suds. I have no idea what that is, but that's what gives the foam, I guess, in my DIY, something called sal suds. I will link her recipe down below if you're interested in trying it. But now I've got this dish soap that smells like lemons, and I love it. And then I went ahead and made Clean Mama's countertop spray and her sink scrub. And then I found a really simple recipe from Martha Stewart for dishwasher soap. And I just decided to make it simply because I would very much rather look at a pretty glass mason jar of powder soap than the ugly plastic bottles that we store next to our dishwasher. So I guess my motivation is just to feel luxurious and like everything looks really pretty. That's definitely like my number one motivation to do anything. And then the fact that it's all natural, non-toxic, and cheaper are kind of way further down the list. Those things I appreciate, but they never really quite motivate me to get up and do something the way that feeling like I've got a beautiful or luxurious item does. And I think that's fine. I mean, and if saving a lot of money or the non-toxic thing is what gets you up and doing something, then great. But just, in full disclosure for me, is it going to make things look prettier, and is it going to feel really luxurious and pampering? And I think that's fine. I think I spent a lot of years thinking maybe that was not fine. And that's what's the word I'm looking for? Thus not even making those products, because I was sort of like judging myself, like, you shouldn't just do that because it looks pretty or something, which is silly. Like either way it gets done, right? So if that's what motivates me to make a non-toxic cleaner that's saving my family money, all the while making me feel very chic and luxurious, then isn't that great? So I would love to know, tell me down in the comments below, like what motivates you of those three. Is it like the beauty and the luxuriousness of it all? Is it the saving the money? Is it the non-toxic, or, you know, what order do those fall in for you? I would love to know. Maybe I'll put a poll up in the community, because it's just kind of an interesting, I don't know. I'd just love to know how you all feel about that, where you all fall on that. So this is what I ended up with, and then I took that ugly old jug of soap that lives above a microwave and I replaced it, and I just makes me happy to look over there now. So that is awesome. I also I washed my kitchen curtains this week. I am slowly inching towards trying to make my own curtains for different rooms in the house, but I have made kitchen curtains, and they've been up for many years, and I just keep them on tension rods. They're faux Roman shades, because I wanted to be able to just slip them off and wash them, because the kitchen just gets, you know, the grease and stuff over time. Other rooms in the house, it's okay. It's easier to just spot clean curtains, but I feel like in the kitchen, they have to be able to be thrown in the wash. So I threw my curtains in the wash, and then I had a really rough time trying to clean the windows. So our house has beautiful old wooden windows, and some of them work still. Some of them we have restored, and most of them are in desperate need of restoration. Now, restoring an old wooden window, I would not say that it's difficult, especially if you have someone like my husband helping you, he's very good at those kind of things. But it is very time consuming, and it's very messy. And so we haven't done as many as we would have hoped. In the meantime, every year our windows get a little grimier, because it's very hard there's a storm on the outside, and it's just hard to get in there and clean them because the windows don't move and that kind of thing. So, but I thought, and in the past I have taken down the triple track storms and cleaned them, and then I've been able to reinstall them. But this time in the kitchen, I couldn't manage I took the triple track out and I cleaned it, and I was so happy. It looked so much better. And then I couldn't manage to get it back in. So it was kind of a fail, but nothing ventured, nothing gained. My husband says he really wants to restore the kitchen windows this summer. So hopefully we'll be able to do that. And I am going to keep trying to get that triple track in. I kind of ran out of time to try when I was doing it. So I'm going to try again in the next couple days. And if I have success, I will definitely include that in a video in case any of you are in the same boat with your storm windows. So, but I just wanted to share that with you. And if any of you have tips on cleaning windows, I'd love to hear them, because it's been a real thorn in my paw in this house, just how hard it is to clean the windows that are not, you know, the old wooden ones are like one of them stuck, and so it's just really hard to get in there and reach all of the glass. And then there's a storm on the outside, so you kind of get this like little biosphere in between that gets grimy and dusty and dirty, and it's hard to clean. But I gave it a try, and I want to share that with you too, because this is just kind of the things that I do around the house, and I don't want to always come off like everything I do is this huge success and it's so wonderful and awesome, because plenty of them are not. And this house has really stretched and challenged me to do things that I never thought I could or would do in my life. So, well, there's the dinner bell. So I guess I better run, but I hope you enjoy this video.